Hi, and welcome to the Playing with Fire podcast. I'm your host, Brian Spitulski. I'm an ex-firefighter and a current fire investigator, which I've been doing for about 25 years. Today, I'm going to be talking with Austin, our son, Spitulski, who is interested in becoming a firefighter. The neat thing about this podcast is we're going to be talking to Austin before he becomes a firefighter and kind of following him through the process of classes at MJC, what you're going to take, or the junior college or whatever, how you do your preparation to get into the fire service, and then what your specialty. So, Austin, why don't you introduce yourself or say hello to the crowd?
Hello all, I'm Austin.
Okay, so something that has been on my mind because I've never asked you this and I've never pushed you in a direction of career path. What made you decide to go down the path of a firefighter?
I think it all kind of started maybe my sophomore or junior year of high school. I never really had like a big plan of what I wanted to do. It was either going to be the military or I was thinking of one of the trades because I don't really like school. I can't put myself through school when it's something I don't like learning about. So my original thought was I'll go do one of the trades. I don't have to pay for school. It's, hands-on training. And then when I started going to more fire scenes with you, kind of opened up my eyes and, oh, I can be a fire investigator. So that became my main plan. And then I think ever since I took my first fire science class was when it changed my mind is I don't want to be a fire investigator. I want to be a firefighter. So I feel like the more classes I've taken, not just in the fire science field, but the medical, it's kind of opened my eyes. I like fire investigating, but I think firefighting is what I want to do.
Please do not feel like you have to follow me because it's a tough path to follow.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it, but do you remember the first fire science class you took?
Yeah.
What was it?
It was Intro to Fire Science. Very basic. It's kind of just starting from the ground up. It teaches you very basic of this is a fire engine. This is a fire truck. We run medical calls. We run this. And I always knew what firefighters did, but that was like my first eye-opening. That was my first station visit, my first ride-along. So I think that was kind of the first time I opened my eyes into this is what I want.
Okay. So tell me what you've done so far. You've not been hired or contacted by anybody. You are at the very beginning of this process. We know you've done the Intro to Fire Science. Do you know how many classes you've taken at the junior college?
6 in fire science. I have my EMT. I've taken classes through IAAI, which is the International Association of Arson Investigators. I've taken kind of outside classes on more medical related, but like EKG readings, ECG readings, and stuff like that. Those are really the only classes I've taken, I guess, related to it. But I try and do ride-alongs as much as I can. I had to do a bunch for getting my EMT. I ride along kind of frequently with Modesto and Consolidated.
So explain what a ride-along is.
So a ride-along is with Consolidated, they only do 12-hour ones, but Modesto, they can do 24 hours. A ride-along, you hop on the engine. If they get a call, you go with them, good or bad. Since I have my EMT, I can do a little bit more hands-on than if you don't have any training. So, if we get a medical call, I'm able to step in and do some of my hands-on stuff. But you really are just kind of like a fill-in firefighter, I guess, for the day to a limit. I'm not going to run into a building, but I can do most of the firefighter stuff. I clean the station. I go do yard work. I'm with them. So, whatever they're doing, I'm doing.
You're with them. Do you sleep there?
For none of the ones I've done, you do, but Modesto, they do offer 24. I think they offer a 48-hour ride-along too. So you can sleep there for those, but I have not done one of those, no.
Okay. I do remember when I was on an engine, some of the guys would do ride-alongs with us, and we would have them help carry in med supplies or O2 bag and stuff like that. So what is your plan? Are you going to be in a specialized part of the fire department or?
I want to have as many specialties available. I obviously want my paramedic, and then I want to be involved in as many things as possible. I want my hazmat. I want my swift water rescue. I want kind of every single thing I can get my hand in. I want to be able to be involved in it. So,
okay. Are you looking at maybe volunteering with a department before you get picked up full time?
I am actually. So I'm doing my academy next semester. So I have a little 8-ish months until I start that up. So in that meantime, I am trying to get on with the volunteer place, mostly just for the experience. It's somewhere good to start. The first time you're in the engine, you're the firefighter, you're not a ride-along. So I'm trying to get that. And I feel like it's a very good experience to have when you go to a department, rather than having zero experience, just saying you have certifications, rather than I've been on the engine, I have my certifications, I can do what you want me to do.
What has been the most difficult thing so far for you?
Public speaking. We've had to do a lot of mock interviews, oral interviews, real interviews, and I don't have a huge problem with interviews, but it's the nerves building up to it. So I feel like that's been my biggest spot. This job, you are dealing with the public. You can't be nervous with people. So
Right.
I think throughout my ride-alongs is where it kind of pushed it all away because, you can't be nervous to talk to someone when they're having a bad day. So you have to be able to get in there. So I think that was honestly my hardest part was the nerves of doing the job.
And do you think you've overcome that a little bit?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Tell me a little bit about the physical side of it. How have you prepared yourself to pass? Because there's different phases of getting into the fire service. There's the test, a written test, and then a physical agility test, and then the interview. So what are some of the things that you've had to do for the physical side of it?
So the big one on the physical side, I knew you had to be fit, but wasn't a lot of things I did with it until my intro to fire science class. We had a good teacher. He was a captain with Oakland Fire, so we'd make a lot of bets with him. If our class average was under 80%, we had to go do towers, which we have like a little training tower. It's 5 stories high, 5 or 6. It wasn't just, you go up and down the stairs. You have to carry an attack line or a 2¼ inch. They're pretty heavy, they're up 60 pounds, something like that. And you got to go up and down. So our bet was always if it's over that percentage, he has to go do it and we get to watch him. But if it's under that percentage, we have to do it. So I thought I was very fit, but that was like, I need to get more in shape. So I've been going to the gym every week, 5 times a week, kind of preparing for that just because I know that's not the hardest part of the job. That's kind of just an entry, but I don't want to be one of the ones where they have to wait on you or they have to ask, are you okay? I don't want to be the one that falls behind. I want to kind of be one of the ones up ahead.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way most firefighters are. They want to be at the lead. There are times when you have guys that maybe aren't as gung-ho, but you seem to be pretty motivated. Have you had somebody that has helped you a lot? I know you have gone with ride-alongs with other agencies. Is there somebody who's kind of stepped out and helped you a lot more than most?
I mean, obviously you. I've had a lot of guidance from you, obviously, since you've been in the field, and you are my father, so I get a decent amount
That's the rumor. I've been paying on that, so yeah.
I get a decent amount of guidance from you. I mean, all of my teachers, my proctors have been very helpful, but I guess the one that stands out the most is engineer with Consolidated. His name's Mike Avila. He's kind of taken me under his wing, I guess, a little bit. I had an interview with one of the departments over by us, and he took me in. He was like, do you need any help? And I was like, sure. So I went by the station. He had him, 2 captains, 2 firefighters, and we just sat at the table, did a mock interview with me. They messed with me, put the chair probably 15 feet away from the table. And they
Just
said,
like
do
an
not
interview.
they said, do not bring it closer. Do not sit until they tell you to. So it's been helpful. Some of those firefighters were just hired a month or 2 ago, so they fresh out of it.
Nice.
And then you have captains that have been on the interview panels, that have been firefighter for 20, 25 years. It's been super helpful to have someone give me a lot of insights that I feel like a lot of other people don't get.
That being said, I've realized that there are people in the department that aren't helpful, that don't have that personality. But I would say the overall, if you were to look at the entire fire department, most personalities are, we want to help. Is that something that maybe helped you go into that field, or did you just find that out afterwards?
I mean, I already knew that's what I wanted to do, but I guess it could have turned me away if, everyone's so disencouraging, mean to you. But I mean, every single ride along or station visit or interaction I've really had with mostly any first responder was, if you want in it, you have to put in the time, but I'm here to help. I mean, it's been his off days and he's called me to help me.
Yeah.
Or I want to know about that interview, or, I go to a station and none of these guys have met me before, but they're willing to spend an hour or 2 out of their day to sit at a table and throw me some crazy questions. So
The only thing I would say is return the favor. When you get in a department and you have that position where you can return that favor, do it, because people will appreciate it just like you do. And you never know whose life you'll touch with that.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to follow you. And that's the plan. At each step that you're doing, we interview you again. When you go and you pass the, what's it called? The physical agility portion
CPAT.
of CPAT, maybe just to give some pointers as to the difficulty of it and what you thought maybe you could pay more attention to or something. And then when you go to an oral board, the hope is that this interviewing could help somebody prepare and maybe feel out if the job is right for them. So if you would be kind enough to come back and to do this more often.
Okay.
If you say no, then you'll just not get fed anymore at the house. So I think we've got him locked into coming back. There were some questions I didn't know. I didn't know what encouraged you to become a firefighter. And I think that's really cool that you kind of just grabbed it from pieces all over the place and you weren't pushed into it, because you can't be pushed into a field that you love.
Mm-hmm.
And I've absolutely loved this field as I've gone through it. So
Mm-hmm.
the one thing I'll say, like Chuck Butler told me, is don't go into investigation. You'll hate it. Stay on the engine. I like it, but I sometimes wish I'd stayed on the engine. But that being said, thank you for coming in. We look forward to having you back again. One thing I want to say that I didn't say at the end of some of our other podcasts is we want to start doing some public safety stuff. You guys that are out there right now, make sure your smoke alarms work. Make sure you have fire extinguishers, at least a fire extinguisher in the house. One of the things I've learned over time is you put a fire extinguisher in the master bedroom under the sink, and you put them in the other places, your kitchen, your garage. But typically when you have a fire, it's where your fire extinguisher is, so you can't get to it. So the thought being is you have one somewhere kind of in a random spot. I've got stories about people who have had smoke alarms and they didn't put them up and they ended up dying in the fire. So just every time we finish a podcast, I'm going to do a public safety announcement, something that hopefully is relevant. Okay, so we're done. Thank you guys very much. If you liked this podcast, give us a like at the bottom, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.